This is Your Life, America's most talked about program. Brought to you by new Liquid Prell, the liquid shampoo that's extra rich. That's why it leaves your hair looking radiantly alive. Now, here he is, Mr. This Is Your Life himself, Ralph Edwards.
Is your life. Thanks a lot. Our principal subject for tonight is not in our audience here at the El Capitan Theater. A lot of wonderful people here, but our principal subject is not there in the audience. He's in a soundproof dressing room off stage, right over here, waiting to appear on the Hollywood portion of a New York television show called So You Want to Write a Book. Now, that's what he thinks. With him is Mr. Cameron Shipp, well-known contributor to the Saturday Evening Post and biographer of such famous personalities as Billy Burke, Lionel Barrymore, Lana Turner, and many others. Now, Mr. Shipp is currently preparing a biography of our principal subject to be entitled King of Comedy, and soon to be published. Who is it? Well, let's find out right now. Please tell our guest that New York is about to switch in Hollywood. Will you do that? Bring them on stage, please. Now, quiet everybody. We don't want to tip our hand until they're actually on stage. And here they come now. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to have you meet Mr. Cameron Shipp, and would you bring a gentleman with us, Mr. Cameron Shipp, and ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mack Sennett. Mr. Mack Sennett, how do you do, sir? Now, Mr. Sennett, my name is Ralph Edwards.
Oh,
how do you do,
well,
sir?
My favorite.
Well, let me, I could go on for hours about how much I admire you, sir. I've been an admirer of yours since childhood. And as a matter of fact, you didn't expect to find me here.
I certainly did.
In the book review you're going. Well, your good friend Cam here and a lot of others have conspired with us to get you here so that we could tell you that tonight, this is your life, Mack Sennett. Sennett, come along here.
Well, I don't.
I know. He doesn't know. Cam, you've sprung the trap beautifully. There really is no program called So You Want to Write a Book, Mr. Sennett. That was just an excuse, our way of springing a surprise on you. We're going to relive your life with the actual people who played important roles in it. And what an array that is. Thank you very much, Mr. Cameron Shipp. Without you, we couldn't have done it. Thank you. We'll be looking for the publication of King of Comedy. But right now, why, you, are we still friends, I hope? Come and sit down here and take your place of honor here,
Have you ever been pulled in all my life?
Sit here, sir. Let us share with you the full, productive years of a lifetime devoted to making people around the world forget their troubles in laughter, an inspiration to young and old alike. This is your life, King of Comedy indeed, Mack Sennett. The Keystone Cops originated and made famous by you, Mack Sennett, in 1914, but they're way ahead of themselves. This is only 1880. January 17th, the day you, Mack Sennett, are born in Richmond, Quebec province in Canada. Ooh. One of 4 children of John.
Shipp, that's...
He's still in a state of shock, I think, here.
You bet I am.
One of 4 children of John and Kate Sennett, which makes you real young fella and doing fine, still playing golf every day. I understand?
Yes, I'm playing golf every day, but not tonight. That's it.
1897, your family, Mack Sennett, settles in Northampton, Massachusetts, where your father was a building contractor, wasn't he?
Yes.
And your mother ran a boarding house.
Yes.
Your formal schooling over at an early age, Mr.
Yes.
Sennett, at 17, you were pounding rivets 10 hours a day in a boiler factory.
Right.
The American Iron Works.
Right.
At $1.50 a day.
Right.
And at night, Mack, his sister, and I used to gather around the piano in his mother's boarding house. And we sang everything from the arias of operas to the current musical hits. Do you remember that, Mac?
Oh,
my golly.
I'll bet you do remember.
I remember it, yeah, but...
Yes, but the voice.
Who's the voice?
You were kind of sweet on her when you were just 17, Mack Sennett. She played that piano at the boarding house as well as at the Cook Theater in Northampton. You last saw her in New York in 1906. In your busy life, you've lost track of her for 48 years, but you remember her well, I think.
The voice.
Here she is from Northampton, Massachusetts, Mrs. Rose Guilfoyle.
Oh! Oh, my golly. My first girlfriend.
Now, look, were you aware at all of Mr. Sennett's interest? It's Mrs. Clark now, Mr. Sennett. Yeah, it's still Rose and Mac. Were you aware of his interest? Hmm?
Well, we were very good friends.
Her mother and my mother had it all planned. Didn't they, Rose?
Well, I don't know about
Oh,
Mac.
I know it is.
We saw a lot of each other.
I know.
But Mac was very shy.
Oh, he
very
was?
retired.
I know.
So you were aware of his voice, though, weren't you?
Mac had a beautiful voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was very, very
He was
funny.
going on to New York to study, wasn't he?
That's right. He went to New York to study voice.
Yeah.
Going to be in the Metropolitan Opera, I say.
Well, his fortune took another turn, but he did have a great voice, and thank you, Mrs. Rose Guilfoyle Clark.
Tell me, how are you? Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Really do.
Well, you're going to see her at the party. This is only the beginning, Mr. Sennett. My
Really?
goodness. Mrs. Clark, you sit over the... Down, boy, down here. She's been staying at the hotel where all our This Is Your Life guests always stay, and that's right across the street from where you live, and you didn't know it,
I
Mack
didn't know. I didn't really know.
Look out here. What's going on? Hey, whoa, There goes the chase again, right through your life, Mack Sennett. 1902, the beginning of your fabulous show business career. Nothing much came of your operatic aspirations, did it, Mr. Sennett?
No.
For a time, you're a chorus boy for Eddie Foy in Piff Paff Poof at the Bowery Burlesque Theater. And then in 1905, you transfer your talents to Victor Herbert's Broadway hit, Mademoiselle Modiste.
Like
God.
burning brightly
You don't need to be told who that is, do you, Mr. Sennett? Fritzy Sheff. Fritzy Sheff, whose name and voice always will be associated with the Victor Herbert era, the unforgettable star of Mademoiselle Modiste, whom you haven't seen in nearly 50 years. Here she is from New York City, Fritzy Sheff. Here's
Wonderful.
Oh, you don't know how happy to be here and to see him again after all these long years.
Do you remember Victor Herbert?
Oh, well,
Wasn't playing the
I was
piano?
just going to say that.
Oh.
I mostly remember him in the chorus of Mademoiselle Modiste.
Yes?
Because he stood right behind me.
That where you stood? You couldn't miss me. I'll tell you something about this chorus. You know, I was never very much of the dancing part. I couldn't dance well. But I always got a job as a singer. I had a lot of voice.
He had a beautiful voice.
He did?
And he was also a very nice dancer.
Even though the great David Belasco took one look at his feet and advised him to go back to the boiler factory.
But we all thought that he had a great future and that he would go far.
Yes.
But of course, none of us ever dreamt how far he would go.
Well, thank you.
God bless you, and good luck to you
It's a great
always,
pleasure.
Mack Sennett.
Let me kiss you.
Thank you. Fritzy Sheff, your name and your great voice will linger in our memories always. Thank you so much. Oh, Mack Sennett, you're barely launched in show business here in the early years of the 20th century. The era of the flickers is about to dawn, and a procession of events, of pictures, and of people in your life awaits us. But first, hang on. Let's listen to this wonderful news.
Hair that looks radiantly alive makes a woman feel radiantly alive. Now at last, there's a liquid shampoo that's extra rich to give your hair that radiantly alive look. It's new Liquid Prell. New Liquid Prell does wondrous things for hair. there's a glorious difference between Liquid Prell and all other shampoos. New Liquid Prell is extra rich. That's why it leaves hair looking radiantly alive. Some other shampoos are thin and watery, some too thick and sticky. They can actually dull your hair. But extra rich Liquid Prell is just right, with radiant beauty in every drop. To keep your hair looking radiantly alive, use extra rich Liquid Prell.
Back to This Is Your Life, Mack Sennett, the career of a genius who early found his niche in a new medium of entertainment and rose to the unchallenged eminence of King of Comedy. Oh! There we go again. Well, boy, look out! Be careful! Steve! Oh, Steve! Save it! Save that boy! Look out! Isn't this ever going to stop, I want to know? Here, that away! 1909, January 17th. This is your 29th birthday, Mack Sennett. Can you think what else happened on that day? Your 19th birthday, didn't you get a job as an extra with the Biograph Company? Biograph Company. At $3 a day. Yeah.
I was a young director back in 1909, and I first met Mr. Sennett, then in the old Biograph studio at 11 East 14th Street.
You recognize the voice, Mr. Sennett?
Del Henderson.
A dear friend of yours through all these years who worked with you and for you when you were just getting started, Del Henderson. And here is the fine man now.
Well, I never know my life got such a surprise. How are you, Del?
I'm fine. How are you?
I don't know. I think I'm all right. How do you think I am?
When did Mack Sennett first come to Los Angeles, Mr. Henderson?
Well, we came out here in 1910 with Mr. D.W. Griffith. Mack thought that California was the great place to make pictures.
Yes, sir.
So when he got the bankroll, he wanted to build a studio in Edendale. Used to be known as Alessandra Street.
Yes, and that's where the famous Keystone Cops were born.
That's where they were born.
My goodness.
You see, Mack had an idea that there was lots of comedy to be found in policemen. So nobody would believe him, but he proved it.
Yes. They found it out. Didn't take long to prove how right Mack Sennett was.
Listen, you didn't tell him about the wearing my shoes, did you?
No.
The time you broke in his shoes? He told me back in the dressing room, and I said, if we told all the Mack Sennett stories, the lore of Mack Sennett could fill 2 hours.
He wore these shoes, and he says, my feet are wrong, still wrong. How are they now?
They're still wrong, and I'm limping.
Yeah. The shoes belonged to him, but he pretended to leave so he could keep the shoes. Is that right? Well, you'll never know the story. I wish you could come to the party afterwards and hear it. Hey! Now listen, wait a minute here. Wait just a minute here. This has gone far enough. Well, Del Lloyd.
Oh, the old champ.
Del, what are these?
The greatest comedy director in the business, serial comedy director, and
Thank you.
that takes a lot.
But what are these Keystone Cops after you for, Del?
Well, you see, I used to be one of them. So then I started directing, and I insisted on throwing those pies.
Yeah.
So they've been chasing me ever since.
What, not for 40 years. Now, wait a minute, fellas. Whoa, fellas, come here. Now, take it easy here. Just a minute. You've been chasing Del Lloyd here so hard, you haven't even noticed your old boss here. Here's Vernon Dent. Vernon Dent, ladies and gentlemen. Heine Conklin here. Hank Man, ladies and gentlemen, Hank Man. And look here, Andy Clyde.
Oh, Andy.
Andy Clyde.
I mean it.
And Chester Conklin here.
You look so nasty.
The most famous group of comedians in motion picture history, each a star in his own right, the Keystone Cops, and their creator, Mack Sennett, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all of you for recreating an unforgettable era in movie history. Thank you, boys. Hey, look out. Thank you, Del Lloyd.
Oh, boy. What a surprise this is.
But the Keystone Cops are far from being your only claim to fame, Mack Sennett. You made Mabel Normand a great star. You gave Charlie Chaplin his first chance. Fatty Arbuckle started as one of your Keystone Cops. You discovered Gloria Swanson. Their names are legion. Charlie Murray, Harry Langdon, Ben Turpin, Marie Provost, Polly Moran, Carol Lombard, Carla Bella Pasha, and yes, believe it or not, Bing Crosby. We could go, W.C. Fields, yes, sir, we could go on almost forever, Mack Sennett. Who, for example, will ever forget the Mack Sennett Bathing Beauties? Another first, as you made motion picture history. And many of these girls went on to stardom.
I started out as a Mack Sennett Bathing Beauty at $12 a week.
Now, an important voice out of your past, Mr. Sennett. Whose is it? You gave her her start. She rose to stardom and is remembered and loved by all of us. From Lime Rock, Connecticut, she interrupted the Florida vacation to come here. Phyllis Haver.
Oh!
Phyllis Haver!
Darling. Well, I haven't seen you in years.
Well, since 32.
Since 32?
That's right.
Well, Phyllis, I'm
Bless
certainly
your
glad to...
dear heart. It's so lovely to see you.
Well, thank you. My golly, isn't this terrific? Rose guilfoil? Yeah. Oh, boy.
I don't have to tell you that I owe everything to you for my career. You taught me everything I know about acting.
No, you're a wonderful girl.
Or knew about acting.
You're a wonderful girl.
I haven't acted for a long, long time.
Well, anyway, darling...
Bless you.
Thank you, Phyllis Haver, a great star and a great lady. Thank you. Thank you. The procession of comedies continues through the years, each leaving the indelible stamp of the master, you, Mack Sennett.
Mrs. Sennett, couldn't you please have somebody throw a pie at me?
Another Mack Sennett great, Franklin Pangborn. Franklin, what is this odd request you have wanting someone to throw a pie at you?
Well, you see, Ralph, I did a few pictures with Mr. Sennett, and I began to feel that I didn't belong to the Sennett gang because nobody was throwing any pies at me.
Well, did you? Get a pie in your face eventually?
Did I? Not only pies, but wedding cakes, too. And, I want to tell you, I was thrown into more pools and ponds. But really, I want to tell you, Ralph, what I learned from the boss was timing. And whenever he was on the set, he said, listen, Frank, will you please learn not to anticipate these gags?
Yeah, that's right.
But you got to learn to do it with your eyes wide open. Oh,
Frank, I'm
boss.
glad to see you.
Boss, I want to tell you, all those years of work with you, I want to tell you, will live in my heart forever.
That's very lovely.
Thank you very much. Franklin Pangborn. Thank you. Very much. First, here's Bob Warren with a word about Prell shampoo.
The old problem, ladies, of what to do when this happens. You get a phone call, you're invited to a party, you're really feeling happy. And then you see yourself in the mirror. Wow, how can you go out when your hair looks so lifeless and dull? Well, here's the new answer to that old problem. Liquid Prell, the only liquid shampoo that's extra rich. Some other shampoos are thin and watery, some so thick and sticky they can actually dull your hair. But Liquid Prell is completely different. Not too thin, not too thick, but just right, with radiant beauty in every drop. Now, look at your hair after one luxurious Liquid Prell shampoo. Liquid Prell is extra rich. That's why it leaves your hair looking radiantly alive. Smooth, shining, soft to touch. Try new, extra rich Liquid Prell. You'll love it.
Time flies. Your motion picture career spanned over 25 years, Mack Sennett, from 1909 to 1935. Few men will be better remembered than will you, especially by the stars whose careers you fostered. But suppose we let some of them speak for themselves. Leading lady to Charlie Chaplin, Chester Conklin, and Fatty Arbuckle, Minta Durfee Arbuckle. Here, Minta Durfee. Oh,
So well. Jolly well you look.
Thank you, you too. You know, Mac, you were the greatest producer and the greatest writer and the greatest director of your time. And another thing so lovely about you... Now stand up here.
I know, but I can't stand anymore.
I'm
dying.
Not yet.
All right, go ahead.
But listen, I want to tell you, you were the most loyal and the most delightful friend anybody ever had. And you know that you were so unselfish. I think that's one reason why you were never a millionaire. And Ralph Edwards, I want to tell you something. He was the most thrilling, thrilling boss that I have ever had in my life. And God bless you, dear. You look like a million.
Thank you, Mr. Dorothy Arbuckle. Thank you. Oh, now there's another great star and good friend of yours, Mr. Sennett, Alberta Vaughn. Oh, yes. Alberta
Well, I was practically a child when I started working for you.
You were, yeah.
And you taught me all the comedy I
Always
know.
thought of you.
Oh, thanks a million.
Thank you, Alberta Vaughn. Thank you. Now, there's a gentleman we all remember as a favorite leading man, and more recently as one of the stars of Ken Murray's Blackouts, Jack Mulhall. Here's the boy, Jack
Say, you know, this is tough out here. I want to tell you, when they throw these things at you like they've been throwing
It
at
really
me.
is, Mac, but I want to tell you that this is probably one of the greatest thrills in my life. I'm as thrilled tonight being here with you as I was when you chose me out of all of the leading men in Hollywood to play opposite Mabel Norman of beloved memory in Molly O. God
Right.
bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack Mulhall. Thank you. Another star you helped create, Mr. Sennett, and this is one of the brightest, Sally Eilers. Hey. How about that, sir? Hello, Sally.
Oh, boy. I'm glad to see you.
Mr. Sennett, do you remember when you taught me to do that trick?
That fixes
I
it,
can't
Carter.
remember everything.
Well, when I was chosen a baby Wampus star, I was terribly frightened, and we appeared in a little box, and I said, Mr. Sennett, what'll I do? And you said, well, just be fixing your garter. And I did, and it worked.
Hey, you think to do it? I'm glad to see you. Really.
Thank you for starting me on my career, and I love you very much.
Thank you very much, Sally Eilers. Pretty good. Now, look to our archway, Mr. Sennett. Here comes one of the great picture comedians of our time, Louise Fazenda.
Really.
Oh, God.
He didn't miss any words when he said one of the greatest comedians of our time.
Right.
Now,
Miss Fazenda.
now, look, no, because I have to say things about you. This is your evening.
Well, I happen to say this about you first.
Oh, Mac,
Yeah.
I hope my husband's listening.
Oh, I don't care when he's listening.
Oh, Mac, remember when I worked with Teddy and Pepper, that cat of yours?
I know.
And you know what he did once?
What, Miss Fazenda?
He put me in tight. The biggest one.
Yeah, well...
Well, I'm
Gee,
glad to
Mac,
see you.
I have to add a little bit to your eulogy, though. You taught us all about comedy. Yes, you
Tommy,
did.
they're going all this
Well,
stuff.
Mac, you did. And you just are responsible for all of
Oh,
us.
I do.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Louise Fazenda. You did the kick. Well, sit down, Mr. Sennett. Since 1935, Mack Sennett, your monumental contribution to motion pictures completed. You've been living in semi-retirement here in Hollywood. Still, your eyes are on the future, as your heart must be with the past.
And what a past it's been for all of us. But the path you made, Mr. Sennett, made it easier for those who followed.
Now, whose voice is that, Mr. Sennett? In 1915, he started out with you, not as a comedian, but as a young leading man. He went on to become one of the true immortals of the screen, Harold Lloyd, ladies and gentlemen. Harold Lloyd!
Oh, my God. Do you remember the joke I tell about you? He was a great fan. Now I'm glad to see you.
Mr. Sennett, I can't tell you how proud I am to be part of this great tribute to you. Mac, you deserve every bit of it. And I speak not only for myself, but for the entire motion picture industry. Believe me, Mac, you have brought laughter into the lives of millions of people, and I can think of no finer cure for all the troubles that constantly beset all of us. And, of course, there'll always be comedy, whether it's on the screen, whether it's in television, radio, no matter what medium. But there's only one Mack Sennett.
Well, I don't know, Al.
Really,
This
Mac?
is getting awfully tough.
And Mac, you've been a true leader in your chosen profession. You've been a great contributor to the motion picture industry, and I'm telling you, you've been really an inspiration to all of us that have followed in your footsteps. And they've been pretty big footsteps, Mac.
You bet they have been big footsteps. Thank you, Harold Lloyd. Thank you very much. Mr. Sennett, be seated. Miss Sheff, you come around and sit by him here. This is your life, Mack Sennett. You gave the world a new comedy art form because you recognized the human foibles of all of us and exaggerated them for all of us to see on the screens of the world. Miss Sheff, you be seated here by Mr. Sennett. Now, recognizing this, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences awarded you its coveted Oscar. Your fabulous past is gathered around you here, paying tribute to you, Mack Sennett. In a moment, we're going to take a look into your future.
But first, here's a message for those of you who want your family to enjoy stronger, healthier teeth.
In several western towns, children rarely got tooth decay. Why? Their drinking water contained fluoride. Now, after years of fluoride research, Procter & Gamble proudly announces triumph over tooth decay, available to everyone, everywhere, as it brings you Crest toothpaste with Fluorestan, its exclusive stannous fluoride formula, greatest decay preventive in any toothpaste. Here's how Crest works. Crest with Fluorestan actually combines with and strengthens tooth enamel to lock out decay from within. Yes, with Crest, you and your family will have far fewer cavities. Your teeth will be strengthened against decay, and regular Crest use will keep them that way. Crest helps keep your teeth beautiful, blocks out bad breath as it locks out decay. Start now to triumph over tooth decay. Get Crest with Fluorestan, greatest decay preventive in any toothpaste.
Thank you very much. Now, let's take a look here into your future. The memory of you, Mack Sennett, should be properly perpetuated here in Hollywood. The lot where you made motion picture history has recently been purchased by the National Van Lines, as you know. They feel as we do. So here is the president of the National Van Lines, Mr. F.L. McKee. Mr. McKee, I wonder if you'd come out, please. Mr. McKee. There you are, Mack Sennett, Mr. McKee.
I think you like the place out there. It's a great location, and it's a lucky location. It's a very lucky location.
I'm happy to tell you, Mr. Sennett, that National Van Lines, honoring you, will erect an obelisk on our property designating the location of the original Mack Sennett studio and bearing a bronze plaque. It reads, "This is the birthplace of a new form of motion picture comedy. Here the genius of Mack Sennett took root and laughter grew around the world. Here movie history was made. Here stars were born. Here reigns and still reigns the king of comedy, Mack Sennett."
Fine. Thank you, Mr. F.L. McKee. And right to the show, Mack Sennett, you and all your friends who have gathered here to pay tribute to you are invited to attend a party on the very lot that holds so many great memories for all of you, where scores of other old friends, sit down, sir, will be there to say hello. This is your life, Mack Sennett. You've given friendship from the bottom of your heart to all who were associated with you. To the world, you've given laughter. Your life is an inspiration to all young people, not only in show business, but in all walks of life. Others will carry forward the ideas and the works you've fostered, but your name will live in our hearts always. Thank you, Mack Sennett. May God bless you.
Our guests fly into Hollywood by TWA, Trans World Airlines, who now fly the newest and most luxurious airplane in the skies. Fly the finest. Fly TWA Super G Constellation.
This Is Your Life takes us next week from the gold fields of Alaska and the icy waters of the Yukon to stardom on Broadway and in Hollywood, to a tragic accident and the enduring faith that made it possible for a wheelchair victim to walk again. When we present the inspiring story of courageous, talented actress Marjorie Rambeau.
This Is Your Life was brought to you by new Liquid Prell, the liquid shampoo that's extra rich for that glorious, radiantly alive look. Buy new Liquid Prell.